shout out to Joe Scott who gave me the heads up on this. But Billy Joe Saunders has reportedly failed a drug test ahead of his WBO middleweight world title defense against Demetrius Andrade. And the substance in question is called oxyliphrine. I believe that's how you pronounce it, oxyliphrine. These drugs have always got some crazy names that are difficult to pronounce. But I did a quick search on Google for oxyliphrine, and it says here that it is a stimulant and an amphetamine. There is a story here from The Guardian from back in 2013, which says that Tyson Gay and Asafa Powell both tested positive for this particular stimulant. Now, stimulants are performance enhancing. Why? Because they can increase your metabolism. They can get your body to work faster, and therefore you can train harder and gain some kind of athletic advantage in training. And I don't know this for a fact. I'm not a chemist or anything like that, but I would imagine that these kind of drugs are good for losing weight because of the fact you can work harder and stuff like that. I don't think, at least it doesn't say here, that oxyliphrine is a diuretic. But as I say, with the increased metabolism that you might get from something like this, perhaps it would allow you to drop weight more quickly. It says here it's a stimulant drug, an amphetamine chemically related to ephedrine and something else I can't pronounce, and it is currently WADA prohibited when used in competition. It is an ingredient found in some dietary supplements. That's something right there which could be the culprit. It says it's an ingredient found in some dietary supplements. Perhaps Billy Joe Saunders is taking dietary supplements. And now, I've often thought to myself that is it even worth fighters taking these dietary supplements? Because of how many chemicals are in these things. You don't know whether it's going to be legal or illegal. And we know these days they say there's no excuse when taking supplements. If you're a professional boxer, you're supposed to have your people look at what's in it. You're supposed to look yourself at what's in it, or have your people look at what's in it and be cross-checking with the WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list. That's what you're supposed to be doing for any, world level fighter, particularly who's got the money to be getting people to check for them, who run serious training camps. That's what you need. So let's see what happens here. I'm disappointed, not so much because of Billy Joe Saunders getting caught for a PED, because boxing is rife with PEDs and sport in general, in my opinion. I'm more disappointed because I'm concerned that the fight against Demetrius Andrade might not happen because of this. We'll see how it plays out. But this comes just days after Billy Joe Saunders was fined £100,000 by the British Board of Boxing Control. And also there was another story that I saw of Billy Joe, like yesterday or something, of him being slapped with some type of parking fine or speeding ticket, whatever it was. So yeah, now it's all over the internet on ESPN, Dan Rayfield talking about it. Billy Joe Saunders failing a drug test. So let's see what happens from here, people. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Maybe some of you are chemists or know far more about this particular drug than me. It also talks here, look at this. Researchers find stimulant oxyliphrine in 14 dietary supplement brands. So it is, looking at what it says here, it is plausible that Billy Joe might have ingested this particular chemical or this particular stimulant drug unbeknownst to him. Accidentally, he might have taken some type of dietary supplement and ended up with this in his system. It's possible, but again, people are going to argue an athlete on his level, a world champion, he's supposed to be checking these things. He's supposed to be cross-checking. I mean, the list is there at the end of the day. The WADA list is there for anybody who wants to go and have a look at banned substances. So, let me know what you think in the comment section below, people. It's happening. I'm out. For those of you who are interested in topics outside of boxing, controversial topics even, you might want to check me out on Patreon. Today's podcast, which I've just uploaded, is right here. People are leaving comments already.
And the topics covered, it's an hour and 26 minutes long. And I'm covering the topics of black men and white women, dating single mums. And in that section of the podcast where I'm talking about dating single mums, I'll talk about my personal experience of dating a couple single mums in the past. And also the effects of social media, the effects that social media is having on the younger generation especially. So I'll be covering all that in today's podcast, which is just uploaded 27th of September. And as far as Patreon in general, I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts a month. As you can see, quite a lot of them are lengthy podcasts, sometimes over an hour long. This is another one, Sexual Liberalism, Democracy, Religion, and Psychopathy was the previous one that I did on Tuesday. And, I cover a whole heap of other stuff. Q&A sessions and even Eminem rap beef with MGK, all kinds of controversial topics, which I couldn't cover on YouTube without having strikes against my channel, demonetization, and all kinds of other stuff. So I'm able to do it on Patreon. So check me out on Patreon, even talking about Alex Jones and, all kinds of other stuff. So check me out on Patreon. There is literally hundreds of hours at this point. There must be hundreds of hours of content on Patreon. You don't just get to access my new podcasts, which I upload twice a week on a Tuesday and a Thursday. You also get to access my entire back catalog of previous podcasts, which includes my highly acclaimed, I think it's fair to say, Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Yeah, you just go to my page, my Patreon page, and you type into the search box, Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer, and you'll hear that series. And, you make up your own mind as to whether it's as good as people say it is. There's that. And there's also, as I say, the weekly topical podcast, which I do, the live Q&A sessions, all that kind of stuff. As you see here, it says on my Patreon page, Hatman is creating podcasts for independent minds and critical thinkers. And that is primarily what I do. But from time to time, I will talk about music as well. That's another thing as well. I've got my music up on Patreon. A lot of you may not know that I used to make music back in the days. When I was younger, I used to rap and stuff like that. And apparently I was quite good. It's not me saying this. Let other people decide whether I was good or not. My music is accessible there on Patreon. It's all part of the back catalog. So anyway, like I say, check me out on Patreon if you're interested in hearing me talk about stuff outside of boxing. Yeah, it's happening. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.